what about your visit and why are you here?
So I've been invited by the U.S. Embassy here in all over Italy. I've been in Trieste and here in Milan today to talk about the importance of women's leadership. I have spent almost 20 years in the U.S. working to get more women in political leadership roles, and my whole effort is really for people to recognize that we need to have the best decision makers to help solve the big problems that we have in the world, in particular here in Italy and all over the United States and the world, and we're not going to be able to solve the big problems unless we have more men and women working together. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of women in leadership positions. Italy is ranked 42nd in the world in women's political representation. The U.S. is even worse at 97th. But the effort here we're talking about in Milan today is the importance of women in leadership and why we need to really help elevate women, help them to build the skills to be leaders, but also help people realize that we're never going to be able to solve the biggest crises that we have unless we have more women working with men to solve those.
In Europe, we have Angela Merkel, we have Theresa May, but there is a trend. Women don't vote women. Why?
Well, interestingly, in the U.S. it's a little different. Actually, we do see women supporting women, but I think to go back, women aren't all the same. We all come from different backgrounds and different experiences, but our experiences are different from men's, and I think that's partly what makes us very good at being leaders. We bring in different perspectives, and I think if we don't have enough, again, women and men working to bring up their own experiences and their own challenges that they see, we're not going to be able to make the best policies, lead the best companies, or have the best solutions. Some of the most important work I see is in the research that shows when there's more women in politics and business, there's better solutions, but also in the private sector, the companies are making more money, higher returns on their investment, and more effective governance, more innovation. So again, I think beyond the equity argument, we need to really focus on the big challenges we have. In the U.S., we're fighting terrorism on our home soil, overseas in the Middle East, and I think part of our best solutions will only come when we have women and men working together to figure out the big issues.
There is a symbol at the moment, Hillary Clinton.
Yes.
You know Hillary Clinton very well. Which are her strengths and weaknesses, and why American people have to vote for her, for Hillary?
Well, yes, Secretary Clinton is amazing, I think. I've worked for her. I worked on her 2008 presidential, and I worked on an effort called Ready for Hillary, which worked to get early support for her to run for president this time. Hopefully some Italians watched her debate last night. I thought she did an excellent job. I woke up at 3 a.m, like all of you. And I think most importantly, we know that we have really big challenges right now. Our world, I think, is changing in a lot of good ways, but also difficult ways with ISIS and all of the problems we have. The economies in Italy, the economy even in the U.S., we have a lot of challenge around building jobs. And I think she's somebody who's dedicated her whole life to public service, and she recognizes that if we don't really think about everybody being a part of the solution, then we're not going to have the best end result. And that's where the challenge is right now. You see a big contrast with her and Donald Trump. And so I think she really showed that she's ready to be a president tomorrow, that she's been there, she's done it as Secretary of State and the United States Senator. And for women, I think it's going to be a ripple effect around the world to show that we elected our first woman president. It's a very big deal. But I also think more importantly, she's the best person for the job. She's been, I think, regardless of being a woman or a man, she's probably the most qualified person ever to have run for president. So I'm excited to see what happens in 5 weeks on the election.